I will try to be fast, minding the time that we will have an interesting discussion in a second. So first of all, a few words about the Polish sector, Poland in general. So Poland is a big country. It's the 5th in terms of the population. We have over 38 million of citizens, of people living in Poland, including 1 million of Ukrainians, which is growing. As we know, the situation is hard in Ukraine because of the invasion of Russia. We are the world's home for developers. We've been always seen as a country of a very high qualified IT force. And also because of that and because of the size of the market, there is huge foreign direct investments in Poland. We're 5th in Europe in that terms. Also, the banking industry is a bit different from other countries. We basically emerged from the communism in the 90s, so these were the years where all the banks started to being set up. That's why a lot of banks have maybe this advantage in terms of the IT infrastructure and the ability to absorb innovation and digital challenges and digital solutions faster than in traditional Western banks. We have 30 commercial banks and over 500 local banks in Poland. We are the biggest market in terms of banking industry, in terms of the assets in Central Eastern Europe, way bigger than every other countries in that case. And like I said, the banks are early tech adopters. The example is BLIK. It's our local payment methods. BLIK is actually now going abroad, so maybe you have heard about this payment method. Once in 2015, when the Apple Pay was introduced, also the BLIK was introduced in Poland. So we, as the Poles, had our own method of payment, which is very quick. You just start the payment and then confirm it on your mobile app. BLIK was a joint venture of the Polish banks, so it's actually the bank's solutions, but the banks got together and created one general solution, the payment method for the Polish market. And as we see on the last part, this is more or less the share of the payment methods in Poland, and BLIK is the first one. Then we have pay by links. Something like, I think, Ideal is popular here in Holland, right? So you're not also that traditional Western market where majority of payment methods are cards, right? You have Ideal, so you know how fast payments work. You know how good it is to finalize your payment in just few clicks. In terms of fintech ecosystem, we're growing rapidly. It's now over 5,000 startups, and because of the nice absorption of the innovation from the banks, a lot of solutions are in the model of B2B or B2B2C. And majority of the innovations are around payments, which is, I would say, our domain in Poland. Going further, just a few words about our history. Alior Bank didn't emerge after communism in the 90s. We are younger. We emerged in 2008. We started our operations, but we grew very, very rapidly. We started in the middle of the financial crisis. So for a long time, we were called the startup bank, and a lot of people said that we wouldn't succeed because the environment, the time wasn't maybe the best, but we did. We were seen for a long time, and nowadays as well, but in our beginnings much more, as the most innovative bank in Poland. In the purple, you have a few innovations that we've implemented. In 2012, we had the first virtual branch called Alior Sync. That was a totally virtual brand of our bank, where you could do everything online. We were the first bank in Poland to introduce for retail customers FX platforms with very competitive FX rates. And from the bigger innovation, I would say we did our spin-off, Bankowo. We set up a startup, basically. We was the first bank in Poland and probably also in the world that introduced a solution on public blockchain based on Ethereum. We introduced Durable Medium, the platform for customers to help them check whether our regulation hasn't changed anything from the time that we've sent it. We have biometric face onboarding process, which is, I think, nowadays pretty much popular in banks, but probably not in everyone. We have our AI voice assistant, Infonina agent, and last year we've introduced our own buy now, pay later solution within our mobile app called Alior Pay. During that time, we grew also because we had 2 mergers. We were listed on the Warsaw Stock Exchange with as one of the 20 biggest companies there. We were acquired, some part of the shares were acquired by PZU. It's the largest insurance group in Central and Eastern Europe. That's why we kind of became a big bank, more like the other traditional banks with all the challenges that other big organizations have in terms of the innovation implementation. And here, yeah. This is our mobile app. Some of the features that I would like to share. We have, of course, fully remote onboarding process. Our dashboard, you can personalize however you want. You can change it and just adapt to your needs. We use open banking intensively, both in payment initiation service functionalities and account information service. So you can have the ability to look for your other bank's accounts through our bank account. You can also arrange a visit in the branch through our mobile app. Thanks to the cooperation with one of the startups, I would say it's a unicorn now, Booksy. Our app is multilingual, which is also important in today's times, also for our Ukrainian friends. BNPL, I've already mentioned that. Also, you can buy public transport tickets and highways and parkings through our app. We also had a nice implementation with one of the startups from our acceleration program, Buildtech, which helped us to make, helped our customers to make transactions for their bills with just one click. Our customers don't need to worry about paying their media because it's all integrated. They have all their bills in our app and they can pay just by one click. We go for gamers. We know that Generation Z is more about gaming and so on. So for example, we have cards with their favorite characters from League of Legends. And for our customers that like banking with us, we have value-added services of our products. You can turn on the option with no FX fees when you go travel abroad. You don't need to set up another account like Revolut or another bank. You can just have it within our app. Also, you can get cashback or have free insurance or assistance packages. I will be happy to discuss this during the break if you want to share some knowledge, how it looks in your banks, whether you have all of these functionalities or maybe you have something else that you want to share. I would love that. A few words about transformation. So like I said, we used to be very agile. We used to be called a startup bank, so we were more like a G-part. And after this history that I showed, we kind of turned to be more like elephant, like a big organization. And now we're trying to transform back, kind of, to being a J-part again. It's difficult. There are a lot of challenges that I'm sure we'll talk about during the panel. because the presentation without OpenAI wouldn't count. So this elephant is made by DALL-E. And I asked DALL-E to present me an elephant transforming into the G part. And I tried so many times, but none of the picture actually showed something more than looking more like G part. Every elephant was more like an elephant. So I guess it's even hard for AI to transform the elephant to the G part. So for the banks, it must be a big challenge as well. Our goal, our approach to innovation is looking at trends, both social trends, technological trends, black swans, so the situation that you never expect and suddenly happened, like COVID, like war in Ukraine, and then you have to kind of adjust to the new situation, the customer behaviors change, everything change. But the social trends are pretty obvious if you start thinking about them. The Generation Z that Aras talked about in his presentation, and their completely different demands, different view on the world. And Alpha, which is even the younger ones, right? They start looking for completely different ways of communication. And they will also have a challenge in future in their finances because of the demographic changes that are happening. And the demographic changes is this pretty senior lady, 60 plus. It's also something that we should pay attention to, because in few years, every second person will be 60 plus. So if you're thinking about building innovations and so on, you have to stop thinking about building it only for Generation Z and Alpha. There will be new generation, new old generation that is becoming more and more tech savvy, and you have to remember about, because this is your client. And regulation that we will talk about probably, and we've talked about during the previous panels about MiCA. There is open finance coming, so PSD3, which will open more of the bankings and insurtech datas, and a lot of other regulations that actually affect also innovation and technology that we already said. ChatGPT is the best example. So our approach for innovation is trends, research, and then competences. These are our competences. Also would love to share how you in your banks, on the breaks, how you in your banks have structured your competences in terms of building innovation. In our case, we have service design team that is dedicated to build the process and to build creating the product ideas from the general business needs, let's say, by design thinking and other workshops. We have UX research that is focused on the customer research, and I would like to emphasize on that, because since I guess 5 years, every innovation that we do, we start with the customer research. We always test product before we go live with them, always ask customers what they think and how they feel in that user experience, user process. That's very important for us. UX design teams, because we design most of our bank apps internally, so it's very crucial team for us, and we try to have the one design system in the whole bank. Open banking, I'm sure you have these teams as well, because it's a regulatory thing, but there are ways to monetize APIs, and I'm sure you're working on that. We are doing this too. We are not having a lot of time, so during the break, I'm also happy to exchange knowledge, what kind of use cases you found, what kind of use cases we have. Like we are, for example, building embedded finance through our API in our loan process. We are dedicated to startups, to cooperation with fintechs, both through our acceleration project within our fintech partnership team, but we also have CVC team that is investing in opportunities that we have, especially in the acceleration program. And AI development, that's the team responsible for the assistant that I've said before, and for the development of different new use cases. They're working on the use cases within ChatGPT. but you have to think about regulation in that term, and that's a huge challenge. Last but not least, this is our team, and if you want to cooperate within our program, acceleration program for fintechs, it's not only dedicated to startups, or if you want to exchange knowledge, this is the QR code for our application form, and this is the QR code for my LinkedIn, and I will be really, really happy to exchange some thoughts and experience with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.